Hi, I'm Vicki Mackey with the Vergers Guild Nomination Committee, and I'm here with Steve Tilson, and he is one of our candidates running for the Board of Directors in September. Good morning, Steve, and welcome.
Good morning, Vicki. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
If you will, please tell us where you are from and what church you serve as Verger.
I live in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm a Verger at St. John's Episcopal Church in downtown Boulder.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me get started by asking you a few questions in order that we may get to know you a little better as a Verger. Our first question is, what is your perspective on the annual conference, and do future conferences need to change in any way?
I think the annual conferences are very important. That's the easy part to say, of course. I have been to three. I was in Nashville, then in Atlanta, and then in 2018, I was part of a group that sort of came together to put on the conference that was here in Denver. So I have sort of seen it from both sides, if you will. And to reiterate the main point, I think it is important. It is a heck of a lot of work. I can tell you that as well. I'm not sure if there are any easy or obvious ways to make it a little less complicated. Obviously, there's all kinds of things involved. Does it need to change? That's a very good question. You know, I think everything seems to be changing these days. Are there ways to make the meetings, the conference, more accessible using technology, perhaps? I'm not sure. That would certainly be something to look into. I know there's all kinds of issues about do you go to a big city or do you try to find a nice picturesque smaller place? Trade-offs there, of course. Big cities tend to be more expensive once you get there, but the smaller places are more expensive to get there. So I don't know. I guess the main point I'd come back to is I definitely think we need to continue doing this. We need to think about how to make it perhaps more accessible and simpler. So how about that for a perspective?
All right, thank you. Sounds good. What do you consider are your best skills and assets that you would bring to the board?
This is the question I've been wrestling with. I am a retired historian. I'm an old history teacher. So I do have that kind of big picture, long view perspective on things. I think we are living, as the old curse, may you live in interesting times. I think we are living in interesting times, and perhaps that is a perspective that I could bring to the board. I am an old teacher. I've been in classrooms for decades, so I am acquainted with communication on a personal level, public speaking, I suppose, if that is of any value at all. But I think that's basically it for my package of virtues.
Okay, thank you. Number 3, how would you go about getting more information available to reach the unrecognized, unacknowledged Verger in our many churches and dioceses about the Guild to become members?
This, I think, is a crucial point. This is really important. I've had the opportunity to talk to folks over the years in a number of places, a number of different settings. I remember saying there's an old nugget of Verger wisdom. Every parish has a Verger, but some of them get recognized with the title and others don't. So I think this is a really important thing. In terms of specific strategies, I think we have an enormous opportunity coming up next year. The General Convention up in Louisville, not far from where you are.
Yeah.
I happened to be in Salt Lake City in 2015. I was vergering at the cathedral there, and the General Conference was there, the convention, and I can tell you it was pretty exciting and absolutely unparalleled opportunity to come in contact with folks from all over the country, Episcopalians from all over the country. And I know that the Guild is already talking about what we can do in Louisville next year, but I think this is a major opportunity. Now, are there other regular communication venues or forums that might be appropriate? The working through the clergy is obviously going to be critical to this. I wonder if there might be ways that we could communicate our ideas and what we want to say with clergy. I think we might look into something like that, because typically they're the only people who are plugged into the network, if you will, in a given parish. So I don't know. That's just a couple of ideas, but
Thank you.
uh-huh.
How long have you been a verger, and what do you like most about being a verger?
I first became a verger. Let's see, it was right after the turn of the century. We'd been in the church for a few years and had taken part in several activities. There was going to be a big confirmation service with several different parishes, and the bishop was coming up, and it was a big deal. And the deacon came to me and said, "Steve, can you help me with this?" And I said, "Sure. What do you need me to do?" And she said, "Well, the big thing is we've got these confirmands coming in. We're going to have a procession of somewhere between 60 and 70 people. So I just need somebody to keep them in line, you know." Now, early in my life, I had occasion to be involved in theatrics. So I said, "Oh, Pat, what you need is a stage manager." And she said, "That's exactly right, except in the church, we call it a verger."
Yes.
So I became a verger. I have had the opportunity, interestingly, to start, or at least to help start, verger ministries in several different places. At St. John's, where I am a member still. We moved away from here in 06 to a very small town in Minnesota, of all places. And I went to the local Episcopal church, very small parish, and I mentioned to the rector that I had been a verger. "Gosh, you've been a verger? Well, I need you." So next thing I know, I'm the verger. And then we moved from there to Salt Lake. I mentioned Salt Lake City. And we came there and started attending church at the cathedral right in downtown Salt Lake, where a new dean had just recently been installed. There was not a verger ministry there then, but he came in and he had worked with vergers. He said, "We need vergers here." And I had mentioned to him that I had been a verger, and he said, "Okay, you're it. You start the verger ministry." So I've been involved in this. I think, what do I like most? Again, going back to the fact that I'm an old historian, I think we have lost in this culture some things. One of them being the enormous power and efficacy of ceremony, of ritual, of establishing communication with the divine, and doing it in groups, doing it communally. That's very powerful. And it has become increasingly important to me as I get older and crankier. So I very much derive a great deal of satisfaction from feeling like I'm part of the team that's helping worship be more effective and efficient. So.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Sure.
And I also want to thank you for your commitment to run for the board of directors and for allowing us to know you better.
Well, sure. Thank you.